Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing a non-train video, but in honor of next week's Hiller Air Museum Steam Up. We're at the Oakland Air Museum next to Oakland Airport and on Earhart Way. It's a small museum. You should go check it out. We start outside and here's a Harrier in NASA colors. Next we go into the engine room. We see this mystery V8. Not sure what it is, but it might be a Curtiss. Next we have an Air Coupe, which was one of my son and I's favorite airplanes. I believe this is a light sport version. Interesting little plane. Next we have an Aeronca. Aeronca is not a name you hear very often. This is a plane from the 30s and early 40s. Interesting plane. Next we have a Kit Fox. This is a more modern plane for the light sport category. These were kit planes that were produced until recently with a striking drag and paint job. Here we have a replica aircraft from the Wind and the Wires era. This is the Vin Fizz. Speaking of Hiller, here's a Hiller helicopter in front of a KA-3 Sky Warrior that's a tanker. A friend of mine had experience with this particular aircraft and said it lived up to its 666 tail code. Next we get into the fighter category with an F-14. Of course everybody knows that from the movie Top Gun. Next we get back into the attack plane category. This is an A-6 Intruder. There's a couple of views of it here. These I believe are still in service with the Navy. Next we have the nose section of a DC-4, which will be reflected next week in the nose section of a 747, which is obviously a lot bigger. Next we have an A-7 Corsair II. These were used during Vietnam for ground attack. They were used by the Navy, Marine, and Air Force during Vietnam. Next we get into the A-4 Skyhawk. This was a light attack aircraft that was later used as the aggressor squadrons for Top Gun, among others. Next we have another one of my favorite aircraft, a Cessna Skymaster. These were used by the military as spotter airplane during Vietnam War, and later on were used by CDF, or Cal Fire, which this one's marked up for, also for spotter aircraft. Next we have a particularly handsome North American Sabreliner. These never quite got the popularity that some of the other private jets at the time, but this was a military aircraft as well. Next we have the star of the show, quite literally. This is a short Solent, which is the civilian version of the short Sunderland maritime patrol bomber used by Coastal Command. This particular aircraft was also used in the movie Indiana Jones, and you can actually take tours of this aircraft for a small extra fee and see the seat where Dr. Jones sat, as well as where the evil Nazi spy was following him. His seat's been removed though. Next we have a kind of a sad sight, but it's a kind of an interesting sight as well. This is an RF-84 reconnaissance version of the F-84 fighter jet. Unfortunately this one is in desperate need of some help. Notice there's a tree growing up almost through the wings, so this one's been there for a while. Next we have this beast, a Oshkosh firefighter. Next we go inside and we see a MiG-15 in Chinese colors actually. This was used in air shows by someone in America, and then there's a light sport kit aircraft above it. This is supposed to be a RC version of a Gloucester Gladiator. Bad picture. Back in the engine room, this is a Pratt & Whitney R2800. This was used in a lot of World War II aircraft. A small Lycoming missing some of its cylinders. Here's something unusual, an inverted Ranger V12. These were popular in the 30s and 40s. I believe this is a J-57. This was very popular in several American fighters and also licensed overseas. Thanks for watching. I didn't show everything the museum has to offer, but it's off Doolittle Drive on Earhart on the Oakland Airport North Field. There's a lot of side rooms, one dedicated to Amelia Earhart since her last flight started at the Oakland Airport. There's one dedicated to naval aviation. There's one to Jimmy Doolittle, to the Tuskegee Airmen, women in aviation, and there's a bunch of models there of planes that don't really exist anymore. So please take your time, go on out, spend a couple hours, and if you've got the daytime, go over to Hiller too. It's a nice little museum too. Make 2-day trips. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Bye.